As a botch
no.
rocker dropper from Ahmadjay left him paralyzed with a broken neck. Suing the company 4 years later resulted in Charles being awarded $26.7 million, though that was later changed to a $10 million out-of-court settlement. And these days,
Hey, bro, a win is a win. A win.
Oh, what's up? Oh, what's up?
Oh, what up, it's Ahmadjay back here in another video. The botch that always ruins people's career, bro. It's been a lot of them, and yeah, it's not really WWE's fault. Like, honestly, I can kind of half agree with WWE, but and not agree with WWE at the same time, because one botch shouldn't like not ruin your career, and one botch should not like, you know, let you trust somebody in the wrestling ring. I mean, I would probably go off of if the guy sorry about that. I would probably go off of if the guy is literally botching over and over and over again, but to a point, not like how Jey Uso say they're gonna have to give it up. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on these wrestling videos, and we are on the road to 900 if you want to be part of this channel's growth. And if you are a WWE fan, I release these videos every other day or every day if I can. And if you're a wrestling fan at heart, leave a follow and let's get it.
Telemania looks at 10 botches that ruined a wrestler's career. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Number 10, the debut of the Shockmaster. Topping and tailing the list are two remarkably different botches from the wacky world of WCW. The first of which we saw Fred Ottman deliver what WWE itself described.
Oh man, this thing did not ruin his. This thing, in a sense, did not injure him. It ruined his career. It made him be taken as a joke the whole time. They probably wouldn't even know who was on the damn under the damn like helmet if it didn't fall off. And honestly, him doing this whole little Shockmaster gimmick, it became the laughing stock and the most famous botch on WWE. WWE is to the point where they actually show this over the years.
Is the greatest debut in pro wrestling history, albeit for all the wrong reasons. Signing with WCW in the summer of 1993, the former WWE Tag Team Champion Typhoon was slated to team with Sting, Davey Boy Smith, and Dustin Rhodes opposite Big Van Vader, Sid Vicious, and Harlem Heat in that September's War Games match, with his televised arrival booked for a preceding episode of Clash of the Champions. The debut was supposed to have seen the repackaged Shockmaster menacingly crash through a wall of the set of a Flair for the Gold, but everything that could have gone wrong, well, actually did go wrong. The Shockmaster's aura was drained after he tripped on a piece of wood, sending him falling through the wall with all the grace of Titus O'Neil at the Greatest Royal Rumble. His glittery Stormtrooper helmet fell off his head, exposing his real identity immediately, and as he tried to recover his integrity, everybody around him just tried to keep their composure, while all for Davey Boy Smith, who said he just fell on his ass. Unsurprisingly, Fred Ottman achieved very little following the major snafu, though he's at least found the humor in what remains the most memorable moment from his career and regularly attends wrestling conventions with the helmet in tow. Number 9, a botch.
You know what, hey bro, at least he can just make, you know, fun of it and, you know, keep it classy and just, you know, see the humor in it. A lot of people will go through life just regretting it and just drowning in a cesspool of beer and shit. I mean, he probably was doing that at the beginning, but like, you gotta just learn to accept things for what it is. It sucks, but like, you know, make some money out of it and just do something else. I mean, I wish he could have just kind of caught some more fire after that, but like, it is what it is.
Rocker dropper. You see it far less these days, but it used to be something of a tradition for WWE to hire local talent to be mercilessly squashed by whichever powerhouse they were pushing at the time. It seldom resulted in full-time employment, the exception being James Ellsworth in 2016.
That's crazy.
That didn't stop these WWE hopefuls from trying to make a lasting impression, typically with diminishing results, like when Perry Saturn obliterated Mike Bell. A similar awful fate fell upon Charles Austin in December 1990. With just 6 months of wrestler training under his belt, Austin approached WWF officials during a Superstars taping in Tampa and offered himself as an enhancement talent for the evening. Perhaps most surprisingly is the fact that this method actually worked. He was booked to team with Lanny Poffo in a losing effort to the Rockers. The majority of the match went on as planned, but Austin soon wished he hadn't made the journey to Florida, as a botched rocker dropper from Ahmadjay left him paralyzed with a broken neck. Suing the company 4 years later resulted in Charles being awarded $26.7 million, though that was later changed to a $10 million out-of-court settlement. And these days,
hey bro, a win is a win. A win is a win, bro. $26 million turned into $10 million. That's still a lot of damn money. But like, man, that's really sad that he's paralyzed. That's really sad that he's paralyzed. You know, when you're wrestling, you can't really like kind of like account for a lot of stuff. I mean, I guess they probably took that into recognition, you know, when they were in court with him, but like I don't know how they still lost that, but I mean, I guess because he wasn't under employment technically, he was just an enhancement talent under it when they got. And I mean, he got hurt on their, you know, their whole production and their whole on their watch basically. So I kind of get how that's going, but man, that's really sucks that he's paralyzed. But at least he won the money. Hope he's doing okay in life right now.
Requires the use of a motorized wheelchair. The Superstars outing is his only recorded match. Number 8, Flop Dollar. Less of a career-ruining botch because it left him injured and more because it destroyed any resemblance of credibility he had left. Top Dollar's attempt at a dive over the top rope was one of the worst things to come out of the early days of Triple H's WWE.
I'm sorry, if you're a big man, you know you can't get over the rope, and you know you can't do no high fly type flippy dippy shit like like the other wrestlers say. Don't do it. But I'm gonna just be honest, just don't do it, bro. Like you're just gonna like making yourself look like a fool. Or I mean, if you're a comedy guy or you know a comedy gimmick, I mean you're already making yourself look like a fool on a daily basis. So like you I guess you can in that case. But if you're like wrestling and you can't, and you know for sure you can't do that, and you know for sure you ain't Keith Lee or Dijakovic in that whole wrestling match, I will always quote that match was so good. But yeah, I don't think you should be hopping over the rope like Spider-Man.
One of the game's first rehires alongside his hit row cohorts Ashanti the Adonis and B-Fab, Top Dollar attempted his best cruiserweight cosplay during the December 16th, 2022 episode of SmackDown, which pitted him and Adonis against Legado del Fantasma and the Viking Raiders. He ran across the ring, tried to leap over the top rope, and got caught crashing onto the apron, while everyone below him had to awkwardly fall to the ground as though they've just taken his full weight. Only Michael Cole found hilarity in the situation, frequently referring to him as Flop Dollar, but it rendered Hit Row's mini push dead in the water. They turned heel shortly thereafter, but by the following September, they were axed. And now signed to TNA under his real name of AJ Francis, he hasn't done anything of particular note across his 2.5-year stay, though he has credited the botch with saving his life as he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Number 7, botching on the grandest stage.
Hey.
Well, unlike Top Dollar, The Undertaker typically enjoyed endless success with his dive over the top rope. One notable exception saw him suffer a potentially career-ending landing and a definitively career-ending mistake for a former tag team champion. Wrestling Shawn Michaels in an instant classic at WrestleMania 25, one key spot was to see the Heartbreak Kid evade Taker's over-the-top rope dive by pulling the cameraman in the way to take the impact, with Sim Snuka disguised as the unlucky camera operator. For whatever reason, though, Snuka's timing was off as he barely made contact with the dead man, who instead landed squarely on the back of his neck at ringside. He was miraculously unscathed and continued the rest of the match as planned.
Jesus Christ. Like I said, it's nasty even looking at this jump. I'm glad he retired that move, essentially, you know, toward his last run. But Jesus Christ, that looked nasty. And like those diving spots are just always tedious to me because a person has to be ready to catch you, or a group of people. I'd rather just jump on a group of people, even though it looks stupid. I always say that wrestling move looks so stupid, bro. But it essentially really looks scary when you're jumping onto one person.
But the same couldn't be said about the second-generation Snuka, as he was let go by June, and you have to assume that this botch on the grandest stage had a big part to play in it. He had wrestled just 6 times since departing WWE, the last of which was in 2014, but luckily for him, The Undertaker holds no ill will towards him for the incident. In fact, speaking to ESPN, he believes the botch spot actually added to the match. I've always been pessimistic with my matches. I would never watch my matches back with anybody else. I'd have to sit by myself so I can pick them apart and say, wow, I should have done that, I should have done this, not that. That night, other than missing the cameraman on the dive over to the top, which added to the story because it was such a nasty bump that I took, but even that ended up turning something bad into...
Oh, and one other thing, I didn't even know that was Sim Snuka. I low-key thought that was just a regular-ass cameraman, but like, wrestling brain, it's not a regular person. It's always a wrestler or some wrestler with experience.
Something good. Number 6, a rude awakening for Rick's back. And newer fans of his are always shocked to discover that Rick Rude formally retired from the ring in 1994 at just the age of 35, but alas, a serious
Still
back
crazy.
injury rendered his in-ring days as a thing of the past. Rude suffered the career-ending ailment during the WCW and New Japan co-promoted Wrestling Dontaku event in May of '94, which saw him pin Sting to become a 3-time WCW International World Heavyweight Champion. But despite his win, he was forced into immediate medical retirement, as upon taking a dive from the Stinger, Rick landed awkwardly on the elevated platform that connected the ramp to the ring, and no details have ever been made public on what exactly was wrong with his back, but it was enough for him to never wrestle again, bar a one-off return at ECW Heatwave in '97 for a 6-man tag team match, which he didn't really do much of note. He was otherwise done between the ropes, but he remained relevant by taking up non-wrestling roles, including returns to both WWF and WCW as a member of DX and the NWO respectively. Number 5, one powerbomb changes 2 careers.
Man, bro. Hey, at least he had enough knowledge in his head to just realize, I actually want to live my life not in a wheelchair or, just majorly hurt. And that's what you really got to take a step in wrestling, like it really takes you for a dive when your career is kind of get hurts out of nowhere. So that splash looked nasty. It still looks nasty because I seen this in like the video with Sting injuring him or whatever they pointed out in the topic, and that shit looks nasty.
Categorically speaking, saying that D'Lo Brown's career was ruined following his paralyzing powerbomb on Draws might be a bit of a stretch, considering he went on to have a decent run in TNA, briefly returned to WWE, and had a fascinating career in Japan, but he certainly wasn't viewed the same in the aftermath. Indeed, the former European champion battled Draws during the tapings for the October 7th, '99 edition of SmackDown, with one moment in the match supposed to see Brown execute a running powerbomb. It was a common spot for his matches back in the Attitude Era, and one that had traditionally been executed without fail until this one. D'Lo prematurely dropped Draws, resulting in him landing on his head and fracturing 2 vertebrae in his neck. He was left requiring the use of a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Despite the severity of the botch, which significantly impacted his day-to-day life, Draws held no animosity towards D'Lo for the incident. If anything, he put the blame on himself for wearing a loose shirt. Conversely, the botch weighed heavily on D'Lo for years, who stated that should he ever be graced with his spot in the WWE Hall of Fame, he would only want to be inducted alongside the late Darren Drozdolf. Number 4, a botch.
Oh man, hey man, this unfortunate thing this was a big unfortunate thing that happened to Draws. I really feel bad for him. At least he held no ill will toward what's his name, and it really sucks that he really couldn't gain his the ability to walk back, because I see that in a lot of people. Miracles do happen, but he broke vertebrae in the back of his neck. But man, that shit is just hard to look at too.
Springboard moonsault. Japanese wrestling legend Hayabusa was one of the most influential high flyers of the 90s, helping redefine the style of modern pro wrestling through his athleticism and innovative aerial moves. After developing his craft in Mexico, he became the face of Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling, aka FMW, where his spectacular performances and willingness to take risks earned a devoted following, and he also inspired many future stars with moves such as the Phoenix Splash and Falcon Arrow. However, everything changed on October 22nd, 2001 during a match against Mammoth Sasaki. While attempting a springboard moonsault from the middle rope, Hayabusa lost his footing, failed to complete the rotation, and landed right on his head. The accident fractured 2 vertebrae in his neck, leaving him paralyzed and bringing his in-ring career to an immediate end. His injury was not only devastating personally, but also dealt a severe blow to FMW, whose fortunes declined without its biggest star. Despite the life-changing injury though, Hayabusa refused to give up, and he spent years in rehabilitation, gradually regaining movement in his legs and eventually astonishing fans by standing and walking short distances with the aid of a cane. His determination and resilience became as inspiring as his wrestling career had been, proving that his fighting spirit extended far beyond the ring. Although he passed away in 2016 from a brain hemorrhage at the age of 47, his legacy endures. He's remembered not only for revolutionizing high-flying wrestling, but also for his remarkable courage.
Honestly, that's so respectable that he, had the courage to like do all of that therapy and walk, bro. I respect that out of anybody that like takes that chance to still try to walk, bro. But like I said, unfortunate things happen in the ring, man. Rest in peace.
In overcoming immense adversity, inspiring wrestlers and fans around the world with both his performances and his perseverance. Number 3, a botch belly-to-belly. Perhaps the most significant career-ending botch from recent memory occurred during the March 11, 2022 episode of SmackDown. As a botch belly-to-belly suplex from Ridge Holland left Biggie with a broken neck. He thankfully wasn't paralyzed, but has officially retired from in-ring competition. Holland didn't face an immediate downturn in momentum as his planned WrestleMania 38 match against the New Day still went ahead, while the rest of 2022 featured championship matches, a spot in War Games match, and a scorching Donnybrook match at Extreme Rules against Imperium. But it was clear that WWE were never going to push him up a level because of the accident. By 2023, he'd been moved back to NXT for a largely forgettable run before his contract expired at the end of 20.
Yeah, honestly, this kind of like really majorly made him be kind of seen differently within the fans, bro. It really sucks, bro, because Big E forgives him and he really says no hate toward him. And this was really like so sour taste from WWE, bro. This is really like fucking like annoying to like see, bro. You really like let the contract expire, and then like they really take a hit toward his bills. It sucks.
2025. Speaking to Mike Rand, the real-life Luke Menzies detailed that he felt as though accidentally breaking Big E's neck ended his own career, as well as Big E's. Big E was a huge star and so loved. There was a massive backlash, and even me being relatively new on the roster as well, even to the higher-ups and the old boys who've been around, they're gonna point the finger at somebody, and yeah, they pointed the finger at me. I think it kind of always hung over me as a black cloud during my career. Never really got past it. I couldn't shake it. It was something that it is what it is. Big E's career unfortunately ended that day, but I think so did mine in a way. At least my career with WWE. I'll always regret it. Number 2, in neck-breaking muscle buster. The career of a professional wrestler can end at any moment, and for Tyson Kidd, that moment was during the June 1st, 2015 Superstars taping. Wrestling then NXT champion Samoa Joe in an untelevised outing, Kidd left the arena lying on a stretcher, having suffered a severe spinal cord injury after taking a botched muscle buster. Per reports, the official diagnosis was what is known as a hangman fracture, where the neck breaks at the base of the brain. Speaking to Chris Van Vliet several years after the fact, Samoa Joe recalled the harrowing incident, naming it as the biggest regret of his entire career. To this day, that probably remains the largest regret of my career that happened. But that doesn't change things for Tyson. Doesn't change things for a guy who has an amazing mind for it. WWE is fortunate to have him because even though he's not in a physical role with the company, the finishes, his ability to put together matches, and be a producer and agent are unparalleled. Despite suffering an injury that a reported 5% of people survive, it was something of a blessing in disguise for Tyson Kidd, as he subsequently became one of the most celebrated producers in WWE history. And number 1, Bret Hart hates Goldberg. That's back.
Man, at least that's really good that he became. I mean, sometimes it's really tragic, but sometimes other things could just like lead you on to better things. And I'm glad this like leading him on to be a producer. He still would be wrestling today. I know he would, but like, hey, at least he held no ill will toward Samoa Joe. Because a lot of people hold a lot of ill will toward a lot of people. I mean, hey, ask Bret Hart.
To WCW for a final entry, and one that certainly won't be new information to anybody who's listened to a single Bret Hart interview from the past 2 decades. Booked to defend the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Goldberg in the main event of the '99 Starrcade pay-per-view, the Hitman left Washington that evening with post-concussion syndrome, having suffered a series of blows to the head, the most significant being that thrust kick from Goldberg. Elsewhere, Bret banged his head on the concrete floor while applying his ring post figure 4 leg lock after Goldberg failed to adequately cooperate. Bret's career didn't end immediately as he wrestled a further 9 matches for WCW before officially retiring in 2000 and returned for an underwhelming second WWE stint between 2010 and 2011, but he was never the same following Starrcade 99. Now, over 25 years removed from the incident, Bret wastes no opportunity to slander Goldberg's name, despite Goldberg having offered repeated apologies, and unless things take a drastic turn for the better, safe to say that neither man will be exchanging Christmas cards.
I mean, hey, like, and it's like I said, I'll always say this when it comes to Goldberg and you know, Bret. It really sucks that his career was ended. Like, I get it. This was one of the greatest wrestlers. He probably could have gone another 10 years if he wanted to. But, like, it, in a sense, really sucks. Like, you're going to have to, like, get over this at some point, bro. Like, if the man apologized so many times, that's, in Goldberg's perspective, this is, like, all I can give you, bro. I'm sorry that ended your career. If I apologize so many occasions throughout the years and you still like you know, throwing me shade, doing all this, I'ma just wipe my hands clean of it. That's all you can do. You can't like tell nobody to move on in life though. That's just what it is. Yeah, a lot of these people on this list had like some nasty injuries. Some people just like botched and literally were not the same again for their act. And yeah, worst injury on here, really kind of, I was about to say the Big E one. That one looked nasty, you can tell, but that Tyson Kidd one, it looks it had the most severe like type of injury, because like he said, 5% people survive that. Oof. But man, hey, at least some of these people are doing good, and rest in peace to some of these people that died later on in the years. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video if you enjoyed this. Go check out the original video down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. We are out.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?